Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. So this is just another video on Openclaw, Clawdbot, and today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can create multiple agents so that you're not just running one agent and so that you can successfully run multiple tasks at once. So for a lot of people, a lot of people might not know this, but once you go on your gateway dashboard, which is the motherboard of your Openclaw instance, so think of like the settings of your computer. It's the same thing here, where it's the settings of your AI assistant, Openclaw, Clawdbot, and basically here we have different sections. Now most people use the chat, most people just use the chat to connect it to Telegram or Slack or wherever. However, they are missing out on other functionalities that you can use through here. So for example, if I click on agents, I'm able to see that I only have one agent that is configured. Now this is not a sub-agent, this is an agent. This is my main agent. And as you can see here in the core files, we can see the agents.md, which basically has the prompt and just gives all of the information of what exactly that agent is for. You have the soul.md, so how it speaks. You have the tools.md, so the different skills and how to use these skills. You have the identity.md, so the name, how it speaks, stuff like that. The user ID, so this is me. The heartbeat.md and the memory.md. So these are very important, and you can actually directly change them if you want to change them. So for example, if you do want to change that the vibe is more formal, let's say, instead of being more informal, then you'll change it directly here. But what's interesting here is that we can actually create multiple agents, and not a lot of people know about this. We can also go into tools and we can look at, okay, what kind of tools does this agent have access to? So for example, here we can see that it will search the memory, it will get the memory, it can search on the web, or it can do a web search, it can fetch on the web, it can look at session histories, it can create cron jobs, etc. So there's a lot more that we can just do with this. Here there are the skills, so you can just add skills automatically, the different channels where it's configured. So here we can see it's configured in Telegram and in Slack, and then the different cron jobs that it's running. So for example, me, I am monitoring Slack, and it's disabled right now. Mini chat dashboard, hourly updates, disabled right now. Whoop token, so my whoop. Meal gap detection, morning brief is very important. Posture check, so it just sends me a message to check my posture and to do my chin tucks. Evening summary. Then you can actually see the prompt and what it's using here. So just making sure that there's no API keys that I'm giving here, but yeah. This really just gives you full visibility on everything that's happening with this specific agent. Now, like I said, you can actually create new agents, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Now, before we're going to continue the video, we do have a whole SOP on how to set up the Clawdbot instance on your local computer or on your virtual private server. Well, the virtual private server is basically where we set it up on the cloud and you can access it directly through a URL. And we also have, the whole setup. So on Slack, how to set it up in Slack, how to set it up so they can read your meta ads, how can we set it up so they can read your Go High Level, your Google Drive, some optimization prompts that you can use, etc. And on top of that, what we have done is we also have created a GitHub repo where it's a private template. So you can actually go ahead and use this template directly for your own Clawdbot. Now, if you do want to have access to these two links, just check the description, send me a DM on Instagram, and then I can give you access to that. But yeah, now what we're going to do is we're going to create an agent. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, great. So this is what we're trying to accomplish. So we will have our main bot, which is here. My main bot is called John. My main bot is called Johnny the G. And so Johnny the G, what he's going to do is he is going to be the brain of this whole operation, so the brain of my team. Now, the role that Johnny has is he's just going to delegate to the other team members, right? So we're going to have 3 different team members, and in this case what we're going to do is we're going to create this for content research and content ideation, etc. So this setup is for content, so this is for my content team, right? So we have Johnny the G. Johnny the G then is going to delegate to Mr. Scripts. He's going to delegate to the research. So yeah, then he's going to delegate to Mr. Scrape. So to scrape social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, etc. So Mr. Scrape. And then he's also going to delegate to Mr. Data. So these essentially, they're going to be called sub-agents, right? And Johnny the G is going to create sub-agents. Now, in Clawdbot, we're actually going to create main agents, but main agents for each. So one agent is going to be Mr. Scripts, another agent is going to be Mr. Scrape, and a third one is going to be Mr. Data. The G will first delegate to Mr. Data. Well, actually no, he's first going to delegate to Mr. Scrape, and then Mr. Scrape is going to delegate back to Johnny the G with the information that he collected, and then Johnny the G is going to send that information to Mr. Data, who will then analyze his data because that's his main responsibility, and he will then delegate that back to Johnny the G, and then Johnny the G will, with the findings of Mr. Scrape and Mr. Data, will communicate directly to Mr. Scripts. And Mr. Scripts will basically create the scripts that I will then use for my content. So that's basically how this works. Now, this type of architecture you can do for any type of case. It doesn't have to be content. It can also be for your finances. It can also be to review your ads, to review your B2C performance, B2B performance. Can be used for competitor research, etc. Can be done for all of that. Now, how do we actually do this? Well, we go to the terminal. So you open up your terminal, and then in your terminal, you're going to write Openclaw agents add, and then you put the name of your agent. So in my case, we're going to add Mr. Scrape first, and then when we press enter, it will create that agent. It will create a workspace, and then here is going to ask copy auth profiles from main. So this is basically going to copy the authentication profile from our main agent, which we don't want because we wanted to use a different authentication. Configure model auth for this agent now, yes. So, and then here, this is where we can actually select what kind of model we want to use and what kind of API. So for Mr. Scrape, to be honest with you, we don't need a high model for that. We don't need, for example, to use Opus 4.6. We can use a lower model that will use less tokens and that will be less expensive. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set up the auth method. Now you can use the Anthropic token, or you can use directly your API key. Yeah, I explained that in my first video. But essentially the Anthropic token is cheaper, however you have more chances of hitting your rate limit, which means your utilization per day, per week, per month, and you might need to get a new account. Compared to Anthropic API key, however, the disadvantage of using your API key directly is that it's more expensive. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set all of this up. Okay, great. So here's asking configure chat channels now. To be honest with you, we don't need a chat channel for this, so we're going to say no. And then now we can see agent Mr. Scrape is ready. So now if I go back to my browser, as you can see here, we have added a new agent which is called Mr. Scrape. So it added a new agent. Now if I go ahead and I tell my main agent to give Mr. Scrape a new cron job, which would be to scrape YouTube, for example, at 8 a.m., then it'll do it. So I'm just going to copy paste this to give it some reference. I go to Telegram because that's where I use it. And then basically what I'm going to do. So after this, you're going to go in your Telegram or your chat, wherever you talk with your agent, and you're just going to copy paste what we copied. And then you're going to say you must create a cron job for Mr. Scrape to scrape I am Cameron England Instagram page using the Apify API every morning at 9 a.m. Scrape only the 3 most recent updated reels. So if I go here to Google and if I go to Apify, I'm just going to show you which Apify I'm talking about. So basically Apify, and essentially here what you can do is you can easily find different kinds of actors. So if I want to scrape Instagram, I just write Instagram, and then here I'll have anything I need. Like I can just choose which one I want to use. So I always choose the one that has the highest ratings. So for example, this one, and you copy paste the link, and you can paste it in here as well, like this. And then you can press enter. Now, to be honest with you, you don't always need to do this. You can also just tell it, like just scrape the reels, and it'll just figure out by itself that it needs to use Apify or some sort of API connection to do that. So then I can just press enter. And now what's going to be interesting here is when I go to the Openclaw control, we'll see a new cron job that will get created for this agent, and not everything will run from this agent. The reason why you would want that is so then you can have multiple agents run at the same time. And so this is how you would do that. Now, again, depending on what you're going to use it for, in terms of the API key, you're rarely going to hit that. And that also increases depending on the paid tier that you have. Now, me, in this case, I've used the Claude Code subscription in the past. As you can see, my current session resets in 41 minutes. And I've used 18%. I've used 14% of all the models, and Sonnet only 0%. So this is where you need to be careful. When you use multiple agents at the same time, and that they all use Opus, especially, and that they speak with each other, it eats up the current usage. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. And so that's why we're creating these different agents. So let's just go back to Telegram, and then here, okay, so it's saying that it needs the Apify API key. So here we can see Mr. Scrape, it configured it, and you can also directly choose which model you want to use. So here the default is Sonnet because we don't need Opus to scrape. And then you can click on cron jobs, and in cron jobs we can see that it put, so scrape Cameron Reels, it's enabled. This is the time at which it will scrape, so 9 a.m. Dubai time. And then you can also see the prompt, what it uses. So that's basically how this works. Now, what you would want to do is you would just want to create multiple agents that would do this, instead of having just one agent do everything by itself. So yeah, so hopefully that was useful. Now in the next video, yes, hopefully that was useful. Now, in case you have not had your Clawdbot set up yet, I recommend you to watch this video, so how Clawdbot runs my Go High Level agency. Because in this video, I explain exactly how to set up your whole Clawdbot instance on your local computer. So yeah, I'll put the link of this in the description, go check it out. And otherwise, feel free to put a like, subscribe, and if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to just drop them in the comments, and I will reply directly, and I might even make a video about it. So yeah, have a nice evening, everyone. Bye bye.